Welcome to this next stage in your study of agricultural science, brought to you exclusively by eStudyLab. As always, I'm glad to be here with you as we continue building your understanding of how agriculture supports daily life in practical and visible ways. In this session, we step away from crops for a moment and turn our attention to animals, specifically the animals that people rear for food, labor, income, and survival. The field we are entering today is called Animal Husbandry. And although the term may sound technical, the idea behind it is simple and deeply human. Animal husbandry is the care and management of farm animals. It involves feeding them, housing them, breeding them, protecting their health, and making sure they're able to grow and produce in healthy conditions. In other words, it is about stewardship, the responsibility of caring properly for living creatures. From the earliest farming communities to the modern world, animals have played a central role in human life. They provide meat, milk, eggs, leather, fiber, manure, and transportation. In many rural communities, animals are not just food sources. They are savings accounts, insurance policies, and livelihoods all in one. A healthy cow, goat, or flock of chickens can mean school fees paid, medical bills covered, and food on the table. When you begin to see animal husbandry in this light, you realize it is not a small part of agriculture. It is one of its beating hearts. Animals contribute to our lives in many ways. Some give us nourishment directly through meat, milk, and eggs. Others produce materials such as wool, leather, and hides, which we use for clothing and shelter. Some animals help to control weeds by grazing, reducing fire risk, and improving land quality. Others assist with labor, pulling plows or transporting goods. Even animal waste plays an important role, returning nutrients to the soil through manure and compost. But of course, animals do not offer these things freely. They depend on human care and knowledge. This is why animal husbandry matters. When animals are poorly fed, badly housed, or untreated when they fall ill, productivity drops. But when they are well fed, protected, and managed carefully, they thrive. And so do the people who depend on them. Now, let's consider the kinds of animals that fall under the term livestock. Livestock includes all animals raised for agricultural purposes. You may already be familiar with many of them, but it helps to think carefully about the unique role each one plays. Cattle are perhaps the most recognizable farm animals. They are raised for beef, for milk, and in some places for labor. Poultry, such as chickens, ducks, and turkeys, supply meat and eggs, and are often easier to manage in large numbers. Sheep provide mutton and wool, while goats are valued for their meat, milk, fiber, and even their skins. Pigs are kept primarily for pork, rabbits for meat and fur, and fish are raised in ponds or tanks through aquaculture systems, helping to supply affordable protein to communities near water sources. Each of these animals has its own needs. What keeps poultry healthy is not the same as what cattle require. This is one of the reasons animal husbandry is both a science and a skill. It demands observation, learning, and care. Another important idea to understand at this stage is that animal husbandry is not only about keeping animals alive. It is about allowing them to grow well. Animals require the right food in the right amounts, access to clean water, protection from disease, and suitable shelter. Without these, productivity falls and suffering rises. Feeding, for instance, is not simply about quantity. A goat or cow can eat plenty and still suffer if its feed lacks nutrients. Good nutrition includes carbohydrates for energy, proteins for growth, vitamins for health, and minerals for strength. Later in this topic, we will explore nutrition in detail. For now, it's enough to recognize that feeding animals well is one of the foundations of successful livestock farming. Health care is just as important. Animals, like humans, fall ill. Diseases can spread quickly if hygiene is poor, or if infected animals are not treated. This is why vaccination, cleanliness, and regular health checks are essential in every livestock system. One sick animal can affect many others if not properly managed. And finally, breeding. Healthy reproduction ensures future generations. Choosing strong, disease-resistant animals for breeding increases productivity and improves the quality of livestock over time. Some breeding happens naturally, and some is assisted, but in all cases, careful selection shapes the health of the farm itself. As we move through this topic, you'll begin to see animal husbandry not as a single task, but as a system, a web of care, feeding, health management, and breeding that allows animals and people to grow together in stability. Before we continue into the more technical details in our next session, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on this simple idea. Every egg, every glass of milk, and every piece of meat has a story behind it, a story of care, knowledge, and responsibility. You may be surprised how much meaning is hidden in that quiet moment. A reminder that this lesson is protected by copyright and is owned by eStudyLab. In our next session, we'll look more closely at how animals are bred, fed, and kept healthy, and we'll begin to understand what separates a struggling farm from a successful one.